Hello and welcome to Steaming Along. In this video, I will be sharing ways to measure the length of an object. In order to practice measuring length today, you will need a ruler, a long piece of string, and a bunch of different stuff to measure. It can be a pencil, crayon, straw, Lego brick, pipe cleaner, even a plate. Whatever you happen to have around the house, you can use to practice measuring. Now, before we practice, let's talk a little bit about length. Length is used to describe the size or how long an object is, as well as a distance between two things. Length always describes the longest side of an object. So, if we take our brick, for example, it has 4 sides. This side is longer than this side. So this long side is always going to be the length, while this short side is going to be something called the width. Now, we measure length in different units. One of the smallest units is inches, and our ruler has inches here. It starts with 1 and goes to 12. 12 inches is a foot, 3 feet is a yard, and 1,760 yards is a mile. That's a lot of yards. Now, we use inches, feet, yards, and miles in the United States. In other countries, they might use centimeters, meters, and kilometers instead. Now that we understand the idea of length and the units we are going to use to measure length, let's get started on measuring. As you can see here, I have a few different objects that I'm going to practice measuring with. The first is our pencil. So to measure the length of our pencil, we're going to lay it down flat on the table. We're going to take our ruler, and we're going to put the one end of the ruler that has number 1 on it on one end, and then lay it straight and follow the pencil to the other end. And if you take a look, it looks like our pencil is very close to that number 6, so it's about 6 inches long, maybe just a little bit more. Now that we've done our pencil, we'll do our next one, the brick. So same thing, you remember the length is the longest side. We put the brick at one end where the 1 is. Then we take a look and see how far it goes down. It is halfway between 2 and 3, so it's 2.5 inches. Next one is our crayon. Again, one end is at the one end of the ruler. The other end goes a little bit longer, a little bit past the 3, but not quite halfway. So you'll see this line here, that represents 1/4 of an inch. So 1, 2, 3, and 1/4 of an inch. And finally, our pipe cleaner. We're going to lay our pipe cleaner flat, and we are going to hold it up to our ruler, one end at the 1. And it looks like, if you can see here, our pipe cleaner is about 1 foot or 12 inches long. You may have noticed that all of the objects we measured were straight. But what happens if you want to measure the length of a squiggly object, or an object that makes a bunch of twists and turns, like road, or like our pipe cleaner here? Now, you could stretch it out again, but what if it was an object you couldn't stretch out? How do you measure it? That's where our string comes in. I have 2 squiggly objects here, our pipe cleaner and Play-Doh worm. Now, to measure those, before we can use our ruler, we will need to use our string. So what you do is you take one end of the string, you place it at the end of the curve or squiggly object. Then you use that string to trace that object and match up where it curves. Then you're going to keep doing that. You can see my string matches up with the curves of the pipe cleaner. And then you put your finger at the end where it ends. Now, what you're going to do is remove that object, stretch out that length of string that you made. See how much longer it is than when it's curved? Whoop. Then you're going to take your ruler now that it's a straight object, and you are going to measure it. So you're going to put one end of the string at the end, and the other end of the string keeps going down until the end. You'll see my finger is pretty close to the 12 inches, just like we measured it before. Now let's try it with our blue Play-Doh worm. Again, you are going to take the string, you are going to place it here at one end, then you're going to use that string to curve around and match the curves of the worm. And make sure you hold your finger at the end. Now you're going to move your object out of the way. You're going to pull the string straight, and you are going to use your ruler to measure that straight edge. Ruler at one end, string, and it looks like our worm is about 8 inches long. I hope you had a great time learning how to measure the length of objects today. I encourage you to take your ruler and your string and go outside and try to measure more objects. Happy measuring! Thank you for watching Steaming Along. To find out more about what Somerset County Library System of New Jersey has to offer, visit sclsnj.org.